Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We're continuing Kipling's poetry. We are in a poem titled The Winners, and I think it's going to be quite interesting. So let us begin. Go ahead and listen to this as you're cooking, you're cleaning, you are playing with your cat, whatever fun thing it is that you're doing. The Winners. What is the moral? Who rides may read. When the night is thick and the tracks are blind, a friend at a pinch is a friend indeed. So a friend at a pinch is a friend indeed, someone real close. But a fool to wait for the laggard behind, down to Gehenna or up to the throne. So you're a fool if you wait for the one who's lagging, that you stop what you're doing so they can catch up. Sounds like he's kind of telling you to keep going forward if you want to be the winner. He travels the fastest who travels alone. White hands cling to the tightened rein, slipping the spur from the booted heel. Tenderest voices cry, "Turn again!" Red lips tarnish the scabbard steel. High hopes faint on a warm hearthstone. He travels the fastest who travels alone. One may fall, but he falls by himself. Falls by himself, with himself to blame. One may attain, and to him is pelf, loot of the city and gold or fame. Plunder of earth shall be all his own. Who travels the fastest travels alone. Wherefore, the more ye be holpen and stayed by a friend in the hour of toil, sing the heretical song I have made. His be the labor, and yours be the spoil. Win by his aid, and the aid disown. He travels the fastest who travels alone. Now, if you notice, there's a repetition here. Traveling the fastest to travel alone, really showing the individual merit how you must go. It's about speed. Now, to build something, you would go slow, diligence, community building, the village effort. Here he's getting at something quite different. Not necessarily to win and to keep going. Don't let someone slow you down. When you go with a group, you can only go as fast as the group, right? Notice here too, he says white hands cling to a tightened rein. So when you're pulling back on a horse's rein and your knuckles are bearing down white, it really shows you that the horse is trying to go fast, but you're slowing it down for whatever reason. So he's kind of comparing that symbolically to the person who's trying to travel alone. If you're traveling alone, you won't be having white knuckles on the reins as much. But when you travel in a pack, in a herd, in a group, in a cohort, you name it, however you want to phrase it, well, your rhythm and speed is going to be altered to the group. Now, this also is unique when he says, one may fall, but he falls by himself. At least if you fall, you're not taking others with you, and the stakes they're high, but not as high in terms of guilt of failure. So if you fail, it's just you, it's not other people. So your bad choices aren't going to harm others, rather they'll just harm you. And one could say that, well, you can make an argument for either or. If you're alone, and it's just you who's going to fail, you might try harder. But at the same time, if you're part of a group and you fail, you may want to try harder because so many people's sustenance depends upon your behavior, right? Depends on what motivates you, I'd argue. Now, when he says falls by himself with himself to blame, so if you fail and you're alone, you got no one to blame but yourself. So it really highlights the hyper focused angle of accountability, responsibility, self-ownership, self-mastery, to really connect with yourself and to know that you or liable to blame yourself for your own messed up actions. Especially so when you're the only one on the trail. Now, plunder of the other shall be all his own. Now, this is interesting because you can plunder by the pen or plunder by the sword. Obviously, if you're going alone, you can't plunder as much unless you're some sort of renegade. But even then, a group of people is going to slow you down. So there's a lot of different ways you can look at that line. Now when it says further here, win by his aid and the aid disown, so utilize them and then disassociate yourself from them. That's what I get at with this. Really unique. Very unique. It has a perfect title of being called the Winners, because travels the fastest who travels alone. Also reminds me of the tortoise and the hare example. And people would argue semantics of it's not always about speed, it's about accuracy. If you go too fast, can you be accurate enough? Will you overlook something? Will you make a mistake? Slow your roll? How's it gonna go? Very, very testy. What do you think? By the way, if you'd like to join my blog, it's www.subscribestar.com/MilhanArchive. I post a lot of different topics on there. Good community, less naggy trolls, less bots. So consider joining, and I hope you have a great day.